Hello, and we are back for Let's Talk Football here on Let's Talk Sport. I'm back again, it's me, Joe, and I am joined by Joe Crosland and JB Davis, and we're going to be looking back on a bumper fortnight of sport action after we took a little mini break for the internationals because, yeah, it's international football, he says. Not like it's not our first topic, but welcome, fellas. How are we this evening, and how have you enjoyed the international break?
Good. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Lots
Yeah,
of fun, lots of fun games. Really interesting international break, actually.
yeah, and I'm still celebrating with a nice rum and coke as we speak. Fantastic way to end the night.
There we go. What a way to celebrate. Nice,
Oh, that's
cheeky,
strong.
strong. A bit like you, Jamie.
What can I say? I mean, I'm strong when it comes to the drinking, but the actual physicalness of things, not happening, mate.
But anyway,
I
talking
don't know if
about
that's
things.
a good thing if I ever went dating again.
I feel like you've got Allah, you sound. But no,
She might be watching.
yes, you might be. That's a good point. You might have
Yeah,
just
that's
chucked
it.
yourself under the bus.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, Ella.
We're just going to lose Jamie for 5 minutes whilst he goes on the phone. But talking about teams that had strong performances, over the international break, it was a bit of a surprise, wasn't there? Because obviously the Ireland come back to get themselves a playoff spot in their group ahead of Hungary, who they defeated in the last game, and Scotland as well, uh, qualifying for the World Cup at the expense of Denmark. Funny enough that both teams played, the team that they moved ahead of in the group stages, they played in their last game, and they managed to get results in their last couple of matches that put them in these positions. And uh, I think with Scotland, it's quite a remarkable story. And we'll start with you, Jamie. Did you watch the game, and what did you make of it?
Yeah, so I ended up watching it on my phone because me and Ella were watching Dexter, and I was like, I'll kind of keeping an eye on the Scotland game as well. So, but yeah, no, I every time I kept looking at it, I was like, bloody hell, what a goal! You know, it's in McTominay's bicycle kick, and then you see Kieran Tierney get a winner at the end. You think, oh wow, what a goal! And then all of a sudden you see the halfway line goal as well. And I didn't see it. Well, I saw the goal, but just moments before the shot was taken, I could just hear a co-commentator go, "Shoot, shoot!" And I'm like, "Oh, hang on! Oh my word, what a goal!" Um, so yeah, great night. I mean, fair play to Scotland. I mean, I'll be honest, I've been quite a critical person when it comes to this new World Cup format as it's gone from 32 teams to 48, which means the gates are a bit wider for teams to come into this tournament, which means seeing nations we don't normally see at the World Cup finals. We're seeing Norway that are qualified, Scotland have now qualified, Cape Verde are going to be there. Not that there's anything wrong with these nations coming in. I just feared that, sadly there'll be a lot more football. The competition side of it won't be as good. But in all fairness to Scotland and Norway, they did it the right way, which is to win your group. If you win your group, what more can you do to try and qualify and prove everyone else wrong? So fair play to Scotland. They did it the best way. And I think to beat Denmark as well, Denmark's not an easy team with the experience they have in that squad. But also, I don't know about you lot, lads. I think the best thing of the night was just seeing Steve Clark being like a Scotland fan. Every time they scored, he just jumped on the players, basically. I think at that point, he was like, I got no tactics. I don't know anymore. Just get us to the World Cup. So, yeah, brilliant.
It's remarkable, isn't it, Joe, that they've got their first World Cup since 1998, and how good of a job has Steve Clark done? Because he got them to the European Championships in 2024, and then now he's got them to the World Cup in 2026 in America, and well, it's just really remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a terrific job he's done there, and he can be very proud of that. Uh, I will say, every time I watch Scotland in this group stage, they were terrible. they, but they just kept pulling it out of the bag when they needed to. I watched them against Greece at Hampden. They got absolutely battered and scored two late goals.
Yeah, I forgot about
Um, then I watched them against Greece in Greece. That one they did actually lose, and they got bailed out a bit by Denmark failing to beat Belarus, which was a remarkable result.
that. Mm.
Um, and then yeah, against Denmark at home, for a long time it looked like they were going to lose that, or draw it rather, and not qualify. But when it mattered, their big players pulled it out of the bag. And, I think Clark had a hand in that because two of his substitutes scored. Three of his substitutes scored, sorry. Shankland, McLean, and Tierney, of course. Obviously, McLean was enforced substitution after Gannon Doak went off. But even though they I would say didn't play very well, you can still turn around and say, well, they deserved it because at the end of the day, they were better in the big moments. I think that Tierney goal, for example, featured a really poor clearance by the Denmark player and then a really great finish from Tierney, and that's sort of what summed up that game in a way.
Yeah, I think people forget Denmark were down to 10 men as well. It didn't feel like that in those last 10 minutes.
Oh, no.
How much of a sucker punch, though, must that be, or punch to the gut, should I say, not sucker punch, would that be for Denmark, especially the fact that they've managed to fight back twice in the game to then concede late on to wonder goals, yes, but when you just need that draw to stay in the box seat, not being able to hold themselves and their defensive line and keep that low block.
Well, I personally, yes, it's a sucker punch, but I don't think they can blame bad luck or anything like that. For a start, they should have beaten Belarus at home.
Yeah,
that was a terrible, really terrible result, really. And then also, as good as Scotland's goals were, also there was some poor defending for Shankland's goal. I thought he was left completely unmarked in the middle of the box, and then a really poor clearance for Tierney's goal, which great finish that it was. I'm not taking anything away from Tierney. And then towards the end, the halfway line goal was amazing, but that's just what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree. I think when they got it back to 2-2, 81 minutes in against a team who hadn't really created that much, at that point you're thinking you've just got to hold this now. So as good as the goals were, I do think the Tierney one especially was preventable. The Shankland one was also preventable. So it could have been very different for them. So yes, it was a sucker punch, but also I think they need to look at themselves there a little bit.
I think what we need to remember as well, though, it's like what I said at the start of this, that this World Cup's allowing smaller nations to reach it. And as Crosland said, Scotland weren't great in the qualifiers, but yet it was enough to win the group. And now I feel like we'll see the real teams in this World Cup, whether that's in the groups when it all starts out or when some of them sneak through to the knockouts, and then we'll really see who the boys are and who the lads are, if you know what I mean. Because sorry, men, men versus boys. But I mean, you can't take it away from Scotland. I mean, they won't care. They won't care. Yeah. The fans can't wait to go to America or Mexico or Canada, wherever their games are going to be. And I think we got to look at it with Steve Clark. I think it's 2 Euros he's qualified for, and the World Cup. I think it was Euro 2021 he was manager of. I'm sure he was.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that he's done more than most managers we've seen from Scotland in the last 20 years I've been watching football, and I actually think Steve Clark will probably leave the role after this World Cup because I think he's even joking saying he can't wait to have a break now until the actual next international break comes to start getting the team ready for the World Cup. But credit to Scotland. There was a mini earthquake recorded at Hampton Park after that halfway line goal, and that's what we love to see.
Yeah.
My question to you guys is, obviously, there isn't heaps of expectation on Scotland, and I think I'm going to probably anger quite a few people that might be listening or watching with the question that's going to follow. But there's obviously not heaps of pressure on Scotland like there is on, say, England, who have made back-to-back European Championship finals, and Thomas Tuchel is one of the best coaches in the world. Let's not beat around the bush, and they're expected to do. Well, his target is to win this World Cup. So my question to you guys is, who will probably have the better World Cup? Do you think it'll be Scotland who haven't got the pressure, or do you think England will go deep into the competition like they normally do, but maybe even win it? I don't know.
I mean, it's hard. I find it hard to answer that question because you're right. The expectations are so different.
Scotland are there for a party, aren't they?
Yeah, and it does depend who Scotland draw in the groups as well. You know,
Yeah.
you would expect England to qualify from whichever group they're drawn into, whereas Scotland will be slightly more relying on the luck of the draw. So it's difficult to set Scotland's expectations now. I do think if they qualify from the group stage, that will be another sort of ceiling smashed. You know, they've qualified for the World Cup. That's the first ceiling they've smashed. Qualifying from the group stage would be the next one. So, yeah, for Scotland, definitely expectations will be not expectations, but the hopes will be that they'll qualify from the groups. And yes, Joe, you're right. I think the expectations for England will be to, well, I'd say at least make the final.
Oh, really?
I would say so. We were by far the best team in qualifying, really, weren't we? Maybe Spain were good as well. You know, and with a manager like Tuchel, I think we've got to set our expectations high. I'm not necessarily saying we will do it or we will win it, because there's so many things that can happen, but we
I
have
think,
to take that next step after making the finals for the last, you know, few tournaments. We have to take that next step soon.
What I don't like about this new World Cup format is that if you finish third out of the 4 teams in your group, you could still get to the knockouts.
Yeah.
And this is why I think Scotland would probably do enough to get out the groups. As Crosland said, though, we don't know who's got who yet. I've not even seen. I don't know if they've even done the pots or anything yet until the draw's happening next month. But I just feel as though the only problem I got for England is sadly this tournament's been extended, which means you're gonna have to play a few. I think it's one more extra game to try and to play 8 games maximum in the space of 5 weeks. I think it will be. And in the heat that it could be for them, whether they play in America, Mexico, or Canada, I think England have got a big challenge ahead. But as Crosland said, they're playing very good football. And I know there's times when they're not scoring many goals and stuff, but in all fairness, Tuchel's not even conceded a single goal. He can only do what's in front of him. But I've already got those vibes that when Gareth Southgate lost that Euro final last year, I said it straight away. Southgate needs to go. As much as he's done a great job, we need someone that can push them over the line. Southgate had no plan of actually winning and finishing games off. Tuchel, on the other hand, the way he's dealt with Jude Bellingham and other players and making it clear who will go, who won't, and obviously it's a team sport, not an individual. I think it's about time we've had a manager that was a bit ruthless like that.
And at the end of the day, that's Tuchel's job. That's what he's been brought in to do. He's not been brought in to make the semi-finals again, or even necessarily make the final. He has been brought in to win tournaments.
Absolutely.
So that has to be the goal.
Yeah, definitely. But for Scotland, I think it'd be interesting to see how they get on. But it again depends who they get in the groups. But also the fans are just going for a big party. I think they'll see where they go. There's no pressure on them. Oh, they'll love it. Especially America. Scotland love America, especially with their golf link up. But yeah, I think it'll be just be one of them where they've got nothing to lose. I watched a couple of their games. No, was it one game I went to see them at the Euros last year? They filled up most of the stadium. There'll be thousands, hundreds of thousands of them probably coming to America even without a ticket.
Oh, they're
maxing out
the
credit cards.
Great addition.
Oh, yeah. They're great. Yeah. But yeah, no, best of luck to them. But Scott McTominay out of World Cup, who'd have thought?
The fans will definitely be maxing out the credit cards. Just before we move on to another subject, I want to just briefly touch on the other home nations that in qualifying. Wales won 7-1, didn't they, in their last game against North Macedonia, and then with the Republic of Ireland as well. I think Roy Parrott, what a time he's been having.
Yeah, I'd like to think he had quite the night after he got that hat trick, but I mean, hopefully a few Guinnesses. But I mean, what's really sad about it all is that Ireland could still not make it.
Yeah.
It feels like it's such a massive hype. I mean, don't get me wrong, at the start of that week, they had to win both games just to have any chance. And to see Soboslai celebrate, and then all of a sudden, how as Michael Scott would say, how the turntables. It's quite incredible how just all of a sudden Soboslai's out of a World Cup while Ireland is still in it. But hey, good luck to them. I don't know who they got. Haven't they got I need to have a look. They've got Czechia. Well, funny
Republic,
enough,
yeah.
that's where Joe Crosland's going tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh,
And
And
then
then probably Denmark, right?
yeah, so
Yeah.
or yeah, Denmark or Macedonia, basically. Yeah, that won't be easy, but I think they can do it. I think they
Yeah,
can
I mean,
make it.
Hungary are a strong team, and they beat Portugal before they beat Hungary. It's an incredible last couple of games. So you
Yeah,
have to think if they can beat those two, they can beat
yeah,
Czechia and Denmark or North Macedonia.
yeah. Czechia are always one of those bogey teams, though. I always find they always seem to turn up when they want to.
Yes, yes.
Especially when they beat the Dutch at the Euros a few years ago, I remember. But yeah, here, we'll see. We'll see.
and a little shout out to Northern Ireland beating Luxembourg as well.
Yes.
Yay.
But
They got
yeah,
Italy, haven't they?
oh, you just
Yeah, and then they get the winner of Wales v
Oh,
Bosnia. So yeah, it could be Wales v Italy for the World Cup.
that'd be
oh,
that would be nuts, wasn't it? I mean,
could
you've
you,
got Ukraine, versus Sweden, and then whoever wins that plays Poland or Albania. Again, you got a good match that could be out of that, as in the final. Turkey versus Belgium. Again, I can't believe we're saying this about Belgium. No one's talked about Belgium not making it automatically.
Did they not? How did
No,
that happen? I thought they won their
I don't,
group.
unless I'm looking at. Oh no, wait, am I looking? Oh, hang on, the flag looks like Romania. Oh no, it's
yeah, it's
Romania.
Romania, yeah.
Oh, I do apologize. The dark blue looks black.
He's had a mare.
I've had a right mare, dearie me.
Shocker.
All right, yeah, Turkey versus Romania. I can't wait. What a game.
But just to go back to Wales, Italy, that's a feisty one on the touchline, isn't it? Because you've got Craig Bellamy versus Gennaro Gattuso, two players that were known to be a bit fiery on the pitch.
Well,
So let's see what there's going to be like on the
well,
touchline as
well,
managers.
let's be honest. Craig Bailey's like a loud little mouse. He thinks he's tough, but then when he goes up against Gattuso, he'll regret anything he says towards that guy. I mean, Gattuso went up face to face with Joe Jordan, for God's sake. Gattuso literally
Forgot about
loves
that,
a
yeah.
fight. And Joe Jordan was known as a footballer for getting into all sorts of fiascos. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it will be a Wales-Italy playoff for it.
Yeah.
Italy, I don't know what's happened to them. Again, they're just so shy of World Cups. In the last three World Cups now it is that we haven't seen
Yeah.
them in. It's insane.
It's what
I would
happens
be
when you don't pick
surprised if Wales
Federico
beat them.
Chiesa. That's
Well,
what happens. No, sorry, Joe, go on.
If that's Italy's best player, there's your problem.
I was just going to say I wouldn't be surprised if Wales beat them, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Wales have to play away in the final, though, don't they? I
Yeah.
think
Well, I think
Yeah.
they play in,
they play at home
they
against
play in a
Bosnia.
neutral country, don't they? But I'm
Or
not
do
sure.
they? Oh,
I
okay.
think I might be wrong.
See,
Don't quote me on that.
these playoffs are so bollocks because, like, do you remember the playoffs back in 2009? You had a
Yeah.
two-legged affair with whoever you were, against the other team, and it was nice and simple. And also, the playoffs were done before the draw, and they had
Yeah.
over 6 months of planning it. These teams, when they find out they've qualified, have got less than 3 months to sort themselves out to go to America, which is not going to be easy. Visas, all that crap, and honestly, the things FIFA so obviously trying to make more money. It's so sad, so boring.
Money's killing the game.
Oh, definitely. I love the World Cup. It's my favorite thing in football, but sadly, it's a product that's dying in front of me. It feels like, anyway.
And that's where we'll leave that topic. The World Cup is dying in front of Jamie Davis, I think. A strong way to leave.
I'll stick to the Euros. The Euros is good.
Strong way to leave that one. But yeah, talk about European football, and there was a mad week in the Women's Champions League, and Jamie might want to turn his headset off right now and walk out the studio because Manchester United suffered a defeat away to Wolfsburg 5-2, and with them losing recently to Manchester City in the league and not having a good run of form, is the pressure on Mark Skinner as Manchester United manager? With them, they are fifth in the Champions League table, so they are still set to qualify for the next round. But
There's a lot
questions,
of hard teams coming up for them,
yeah,
though.
the question is the pressure on Mark Skinner, and can Manchester United make that next round, Jamie?
Um, uh, I mean, they got Leon, haven't they? They've got Juventus as well coming up, which that won't be easy. To be honest, it's weird how in a very short time, all of a sudden, Man United season's going the other way round. I mean, that defeat to City the other week was not great. It wasn't a great performance at all. Again, it was at the Etihad Stadium, where, of course, big occasion for a derby, a lot of more fans in than normal for these two teams compared to where they play at the Lee Sports Village or the Academy Stadium down the road from the Etihad. But it just felt like United had no grip in the game whatsoever. And there was some weird substitutions made by Skinner. Like Mallard came on in the second half, and I'm thinking, with the season she's had, or the year she's had, I would have just started her, especially in a game like that where the problem is with United is they can't seem to beat the actual teams around them when it comes to the Women's Super League. They can get the results out of the other teams. While I say that, they lost to Villa, which never happens. And then obviously ever since then, it's just completely turned the other way for them. So I just fear for Skinner a little bit in terms of I think they're happy with what he's done for United. He's done a great job. The only problem is, it's like when we talked about Southgate and Tuchel. At some point, there's a manager that can only do so much, and there's a level that they keep reaching but not get further than that. Feels like that with Mark Skinner. But I also do feel as though the United team don't have the depth to deal with European football midweek and then Women's Super League on the weekend. It's a club that I don't care when people say, yeah, but it's Man United. Yeah, but the club has not functioned like this before with a women's team. And we all go back to the summer, which I said on this YouTube channel ahead of the United Chelsea game a few weeks back. And I was stressing that Mark Skinner is clearly signalling to the board upstairs, Jim Ratcliffe and all that. I need some signings. I'm not getting the backup. We've had some injuries, and I can't do anything with this team. And he even had a game where he only had four players on the bench available, and they put a fifth one there just to fill up the numbers. But she was injured anyway, so it's a real mess at the moment. I don't know about Skinner losing it. I'd still give Skinner the season, of course. I'm just wondering what will happen in January if he'll get a backing to get some extra numbers in. And let's not forget that Talise Joyce has got an eye problem at the moment, eye socket problem, which not sure how long she'll be out for, but I wouldn't like to send a blind person in to go and goal for now, that's for sure. But she's a tremendous goalkeeper, and the timing of her going is just really difficult.
Yeah, and you had Sophia Middleton Patel in goal. Uh, I think. What do you think of her performances, Joe? Do you think she's done okay since she's come in and deputised for the goalkeeper?
She's done okay. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think back to the City game. I'm not sure I would necessarily blame any of the goals on
The
her. And
hemp
I
one
think
especially.
yeah, and she did all right against PSG. I think she did against Wolfsburg, pass the ball straight to one of the Wolfsburg players, so that was a trickier game for her. I think she's done fine, but also you're always going to miss someone like Tallis Joyce because she is so good and just gives the defense so much confidence. It's going to change it even if her deputy comes in and does fine. It's still a decline in the sort of quality you've got behind you. As good as Patel's been. I would say about Man United and Skinner is that I don't think you need to hit the big red panic button just yet. As Jamie alluded to, it's the sort of first season where they've had to deal with midweek, weekend, midweek, weekend, and there's a lot of games that have come, one and some tricky games as well. Playing Man City away and then going away to Wolfsburg is pretty tough. I mean, City are really setting the standard in the WSL at the moment, and Wolfsburg have a lot of pedigree, so that's tricky. Yes, I agree with Jamie that January will be big for United season. I think they need to get some depth in because the players clearly look tired at the moment. In some ways, I think this international break might have come at the right time. Often you sort of say, what they don't need is an international break to go and play international football. But I think maybe they're only friendlies, I think, aren't they? These international games, so maybe a bit of a less intense couple of weeks for them might do them good.
I think they've got West Ham when they come back next month and it's a home game. So I think that's a good way to get going before they host Lyon 3 days after. And then they're at home again against Tottenham. So that they've picked the right time, as Crosland said, to have that break, but also 3 home matches in a row. I think will help them settle, hopefully, before they then head to Turin before Christmas. So yeah, it's a funny one. Like I say, in a very short time, it's just United just look a little bit shaky. They've only lost twice in the league. The Villa one was a surprise, and then straight after they lose to City, which was not a surprise. City have been in great form and probably been the best team in the league so far, but still a long way to go. I just worry about certain players at United that are just not showing their performances right now when they really need it.
Name names.
Leah Golden.
Yeah.
I do like Leah Golden. I think she's been tremendous, but in terms of her service for the club, but this season, I'm not too sure. I just wonder if, again, is that another one that's been in the club since the start, and sadly, it's now getting to a point where we need more clinical players.
Well, I think Rolfo's been excellent when she's played as well.
Oh, she's been
Yeah.
tremendous.
Yeah.
But
Scored again.
me and Crosland were saying it back in the summer. I think Crosland broke the news to me that she was joining. I was like, that's a great signing. You can't go wrong, especially the experience she has as well. So it's and Jess Park as well. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
The recruitment's actually been all right. It's just not. We just don't have enough players. And we've let go of some good players as well. People have to remember we let go of Russo. I know that was 2 years ago, but I don't think we replaced her until Mallard this year, I would
Yeah.
say.
The thing is, I thought when you lost Grace Clinton, I thought that was a massive worry. But then when I heard that Jess Park was coming the other way, I thought that it was a great business in the end for both clubs because Jess Park wasn't getting in the City lineup despite all their quality, and Grace Clinton wanted to go and push herself the next step. I always thought she was going to end up down in London at Arsenal, but she's ended up going across Manchester to Manchester City. I think it's great business
I
there.
just,
And
yeah, I just don't understand City's treatment with Jess Park. I
yeah,
always thought she was bound to be their starter. When she went on loan to Everton, even then I was thinking, what are you doing? Just give her some game time. But that was Gareth Taylor when he was the manager.
yeah, don't get me
And when
started on him.
no, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, he had his problems with certain players, Chloe Kelly. But I just remember like Jess Park coming to United. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I'll take her. That's a great signing. I knew we were going to lose Clinton from it, but I just thought, it's not as bad as the Alexis Sanchez Mkhitaryan swap. I'll say that.
But yeah, with you talk about Fridolin, Rochefort, and Malvin Mallard there, and how impressed have you been, Joe, with United's forward line this season, despite the fact that they are fragile defensively?
Yeah, they've been good. Scored some good goals. Looked good. I think Rolfo, as mentioned, is a terrific signing. He brings her experience, and also it's noteworthy that she's one of the ones who's really been performing in the Champions League. She has that experience of playing 2 games a week. She knows what's required, so I think that's excellent. I always think Mallard looks great when I watch a really strong, quick, good finish. Park, as Jamie knows, I've messaged Jamie quite a few times saying like Park should be the first name on the team sheet. I think she's terrific. Great feet, uses the ball really well. So yeah, she's fantastic. So yeah, I thought I agree with what Jamie said about Malak coming on against Man City. He started with Turland, who I do rate Turland, but I didn't think she got into the game at all against Man City.
No.
I wonder whether maybe she struggles with some of the more physical defenders, because City have got that now with Kanak and Jade Rose. They're both very big physical defenders. And I did think Turland struggled to get into the game a little bit there. So maybe that is a slight one on Skinner with the selection, but then that's also affected by the Champions League. So it's difficult to say.
I hate
But
to.
yes.
Yeah, I the one player that as I love this player, and sadly, I hope she's not listening to this. Janssen, she's made some mistakes. In and especially that City goal last week, which it was that cross from the right wing, should have got there. Goalkeeper was didn't get there before the ball came, and then obviously they scored the tap in City, and Janssen should have read it well, and then obviously she got the straight red card against Atletico Madrid as well. Uh, there's again, you can't go wrong with having her for a season like this because of the experience she has, and has won major tournaments with Wolfsburg and the Netherlands. But sadly, I just feel as though Janssen this season's not been at her best.
And
Yeah,
uh,
agreed.
so if you look around the rest of the Champions
I love
League,
you, Janssen. I'm just being there for you.
Jamie loves Janssen. But yeah, look around the rest of the Champions League. Juventus 3, Lyon 3. Paris FC defeating Benfica 2-0. Benfica going down to 10 there. Valerenga 2, St. Polten 2. Twente defeated 4-0 at home to Atletico Madrid. Uh, Old Heavily Leverne drawing 1-1 with Roma. I don't know if I've said that right, but you
You
know
did better
what I
than
mean.
me.
Paris Saint-Germain losing 3-1 at home to Bayern Munich. But the two English teams, we'll move on to the other two English uh, games. We'll go on with Arsenal first, defeating Real Madrid by 2-1. And
Huge win.
Alessia Russo at the double and Caroline Weir on the score sheet. A familiar name there for Real Madrid, Joe.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great comeback from Arsenal. Two really good headers from Russo and two good crosses, and I think that's the result they needed because they drew 0-0 with Spurs, and I thought they looked quite uninspired actually when I watched that game. Didn't really ever look like they were going to score a goal and win that game. So I think there's a little bit of scrutiny on them. They're a bit too inconsistent this season. So that was a result they certainly needed, especially after the Munich game as well. Sorry, I mentioned Tottenham, but yeah, the Munich game in the Champions League was just as damaging.
Yeah, that was a bad result.
Losing that one, they 2-0 up and lost 3-2, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I think they needed that result to get back on track, and it was a very good result. Very good.
I think the one thing I find at the moment with Arsenal is that I don't think they have a proper game plan. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm disappointed with how they're playing this season. You know, they win the Women's Champions League. I love the manager, by the way. I think she's tremendous. But
Yeah.
it's so not. There's no balance there at all. Like their front line is ridiculous, but yet they're not doing it when they need it. I don't know what's going on. Is it that there's too many egos at that front line? I hate to say it, but Chloe Kelly, Alicia Russo, does it work? I'm not sure.
For me, I thought when I was watching them against Spurs, I thought they missed that real creative player in the middle, sort of number
Yeah,
10.
yeah.
That has been Kim Little in the past, but I think she's not
Oh, Kim
quite as
Little,
effective,
yeah, of course.
not quite as effective as she once was. So I think they could do with a real creative number 10 in January if they can find one.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
The interesting thing, you mentioned Chloe Kelly. She's not really been getting loads of games, I should say, loads of starts this season at Arsenal. And then there's been question marks over the investment in the summer. But when you've dropped £1 million on a player in Olivia Smith, surely Arsenal fans can't cry out about investment in their squad and the transfer window, surely.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the same about Liverpool in the Premier League, though, but that's clearly not worked. So it does depend on whether you've addressed all. It does depend on whether you've really addressed all your problems. You know, spending money doesn't necessarily mean you've bought the right players in the right positions, or you're using them well enough. I think Arsenal do have a good squad and can do better than they perhaps are. So
I mean,
yeah,
look at. Sorry, Joe. I mean, look at their bench as well. I mean, Black Stinios, Beth Mead, Caitlin Ford.
Yeah,
I don't understand. Like, why is it? Yeah, exactly. They're great players and they're winners. They are winners. And I just find there's just something not clicking. But I think Crosland's right. When you look at when you look at the midfield as well, I mean, all you've got is Caldenti and then Manham, which I think Manham needs to go. There's something about Manham that makes me think that maybe she's outstayed her welcome. I know she scored against Chelsea, which was that the one that got disallowed? I got so confused in that game. There was like
That one got disallowed.
it was
Yeah.
like three
Yeah.
goals that got disallowed in that game. It was crazy. There's something missing. As when you look at like Real Madrid though, when you got De Brits and you got Angadol as well, when you got Casado in front of them. In all fairness, Real Madrid should be doing much better with the squad that they've got as well. The creativity they have. It was a bizarre match. I couldn't believe it when Arsenal won it, to be honest with you, after what happened at Bayern Munich. But this Women's Champions League is brilliant. I actually think it's been a really good tournament.
Yeah.
You know, Barcelona are not exactly cruising it either. So it's looking to be quite a good tournament. And even with United, sorry, I'm going back to United, but when you look at United, their first time doing this, they've got a guaranteed playoff spot. So no matter what, they're in the next phase, sort of. So it's really become a league phase where actually teams like Barcelona don't feel as though they're that separated from everyone else.
You just mentioned about the league phase then. The question that I got asked, because I feel like they changed it with the men's format last year before changing it with the women's this year, new to a league phase, and they've also introduced like a women's version of the Europa League, haven't they, this year as well?
Yeah,
Or the set
Europa
to
Cup.
introduce, yeah, the
Yeah,
Europa
yeah.
Cup. Uh,
Can't say
w-
I've followed that to be honest, but yeah.
I didn't like the change of format for the men's game, you from the group stages to the big league format. I found it quite jarring. There was more games that were added that weren't really needed, and I feel like the jeopardy of going out in the group stage isn't really there with this format in the league phase. But with the, it sounds daft, but with the Women's Champions League, I think with them having less teams in the
It
competition
works.
anyway, it works. But I think with the men's, they've added more teams to the competition and made the league Champions League go from 32 to 36. I think it was off the top of my head. And I feel
Yeah,
like with the
yeah, no,
men's
you're right. Yeah,
Champions
yeah, yeah.
League, it's just bloated, and the risk isn't there that there once was for teams to go out the competition, and it feels pretty boring and meaningless, especially when you're not playing each other home and away.
Well, what they've,
But with the women's, I think it works quite well.
well, well, what UEFA have done though is people forget about the playoffs last year. You had Man City, Real Madrid in a playoff, and Real Madrid beat them at the Etihad. I think, no, they played a two-legger, didn't they? And I think did they beat them on penalties at the end? I can't remember,
I think
but
so, yeah.
I think what UEFA are trying to do is make the fixtures have more meaning or have lineup of fixtures to go, oh wow, Real Madrid are playing City in a playoff, not even in a semi-final. And I think the group stages from the men's side of it was getting a bit dull. I didn't mind it. I thought, fair enough. You got to start off with three other teams, just like the World Cup, I guess, but you got to play them twice. What I like about the league phase, though, is you only play them once. You either play them at home or away the once, and then that's it. And then you got to go on and play another 7 games in that league phase. I get what you're saying, Joe, in terms of there's too many. It seems like there's just too many teams in that league table, and yet that so many can still go through. But people have to remember if you make the playoff, great, but you still got to then play extra games before you go to the knockouts. So I think for some teams, it's actually we want to avoid that and get into the automatic spots, which is what the top eight is it,
Yeah.
or something like that. So I don't know. I'm quite a fan of the league phase. I wasn't sure when it started, but I think it's brought a bit more excitement. And also the games are so random. It's just like Bayern Munich Villa one night, and yet Villa beat them. It's like this is great. This is great. This is what we want to see. It makes it a bit more lively. However, I do think there's a lot. There's too much football. So much more football, isn't it? And I do feel for the players because there's a lot of traveling. I mean, I've worked with people at Hawkeye, and they when I was working with one of them the other week, he said to me, like, because of it being Champions League phase, I did feel for him. He said, oh, well, after this Premier League game on Sunday, I think I'll go to Munich on Monday and then be there for 3 days to sort all that out. And I just thought it is a bit over the top. There's so much football, it's crazy.
Hmm.
So much football. But the last game we'll have a look at. Incidentally, it's the same tie in the men's game this week, but the last Champions League game for the women's thing that I want to talk about is Chelsea versus Barcelona with a 1-1 draw. It's a tie that evokes many a memory for both sides of the men's and women's football, but in this case, obviously the women's football, and was a Champions League final not that long ago, but game now in the group stage.
Yeah. Chelsea level 1-1 draw at the moment. So, but I think it's a decent result, that one. I went to the semi-finals last year at Stamford Bridge. I can't remember the final score, but Chelsea lost them like 8-2 on aggregate, didn't they? If I remember rightly,
God.
it was a battering. So I think
I
that
didn't know
was a
you
good
went to
result.
that.
I
No,
did,
Did you?
yeah,
Oh, I missed. I think you probably did. I
yeah,
forgot. Oh, fair play.
yeah. I did Arsenal against Lyon the first leg of that as well.
Yeah,
Which
because
funny, Arsenal actually lost, but then went and won the second leg.
oh, in the second, yeah, those
Yeah,
those semis are really weird because they put them on a weekend, don't they? It's
yeah,
it's a different schedule.
yeah. But yeah, Chelsea, they're stuttering a little bit. It's weird to say when they're sort of 35 unbeaten and have just drawn with Barcelona, but they do love a 1-1 draw. It does feel like they don't quite have the same cutting edge
You
they
know,
have had with
yeah, you know who they missed, don't you?
I have a theory, but I'm not sure it's what you're going to say.
Well,
Go on.
sadly, well, Sam Kerr's not
Mm,
where she is at the moment. I think with what happened in her personal life, it's affected her, and
and the
she's not,
injury.
and the injury.
Yeah.
Um, and also Gora Reaton's not. She's getting
Mm,
into her 30s. She's not a regular starter now. I think there's just certain players that they're not actually letting go of to replace.
yeah.
yeah.
Myra Ramirez got injured as well. I really rate her.
She's a good player.
I think Macario is a good player. I don't think you want to rely on her as your main striker. She's not the
No,
most naturally sort of clinical goal scorer, I would say.
I'm surprised. And I must admit, I keep saying this, but maybe it's just because of her age. But Alexandra Pop, she's a good player to bring in, even just for a few goals. I'm surprised that link up's not happened at Chelsea. Don't know why. I
Mm.
keep thinking that would be a good signing for them.
I think they could do with a goal scorer at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But while we're talking about the Champions League, how is Berenstein the joint top goal scorer in the Women's Champions League? No offense, got nothing against Berenstein, but I do not see her as
Sounds
a
like you
world
do.
class striker. I won't remember. I mean, I've not watched her since the last World Cup, but I must admit I didn't rate her for that Dutch team.
Shame.
Dreams can come true, I guess. But yeah, again, I wasn't a big fan of Brian Brobby, and he scored for Sunderland the other week.
I think certain competitions just bring the best out of certain players, don't they? And maybe this is one
Yeah,
of those where it brings out the best for. Was it Berenstein? Did you say
yeah, Berenstein, yeah.
Berenstein? Yeah. I always get a bit paranoid when I'm pronouncing names now. Don't want to get cancelled in today's society. Cancel culture's everywhere.
As Peter Kay would say.
But yeah, I think that's to sum up the Champions League. I think that was a interesting round of fixtures there, and I think just to have a quick look, sorry, before we move on, at the next round of matches that we'll be facing, if I can get it to load. Here we go. So you got out the English clubs. Arsenal will host Twente. United will host Lyon, as you mentioned, Jamie, and Chelsea have Roma in the next games. The next round of matches will take place on the 9th and 10th of December before the final round of matches taking place all on the 17th of December. So still a lot to play for in this competition, lads.
Yeah,
Very much
definitely.
so. Very much so. It's more difficult to pick out who a winner might be this year, I think. I mean, I'm sure Barcelona will be the favourites, but they're clearly beatable these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They lost to Real Sociedad in the league as well a couple of weeks ago. So only lost of the season, but even so.
I think if you look back at the summer, the fact that Barcelona lost the final to Arsenal and then England beat them in the Euros final, that says to me enough that there's enough of those players for Barcelona and Spain that are not as unbeatable as they used to be.
So,
Putellas is not where she used to be. Bon Mati's I'm not going to say the best, one of the best players in the world, but she can't do everything. So I'm going to say it's now. I still think Bon Mati could come to the WSL at some point.
love to see it.
I honestly think Chelsea would look into it, but that's what I reckon. That's just a theory.
Just a theory, but we never
Well,
know.
you got to have a new challenge, haven't you? You've done
Yeah,
everything at Barca.
yeah,
Try
agreed.
something else.
Yeah,
Prove
agreed.
it.
Yeah, that's a very valid point about you've proven yourself in different leagues, and I think that's some players come under criticism for being league hoppers, but I think uh, like you look, I think when you look at things, sometimes you have got to just try new things. Maybe I know that sounds hypocritical of me, being angry with Trent, but it's one of those.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you missed Trent this season, that's for sure.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Talk about this season. I think if we move on to the last topics of the show. We're going to have a look around the leagues in Euro road trip, and I think we should start off with the Bundesliga. And I think very high scoring weekend. I don't know if you guys have seen the score lines.
Yes,
Do
a
you
few
want me
of
to
them.
rattle? Do you want me to rattle through them quickly, or
Go for it.
so like Friday night started off with Mainz 1, Hoffenheim 1, and then on Saturday, Eintracht Frankfurt with a 4-3 win away to Cologne. Augsburg beating Hamburg 1-0, so that wasn't really the highest of scoring games, but still. Bayern Munich 6-2 winners at home to Freiburg. Dortmund and Stuttgart 3-all draw there. Money's worth there at the Westfalenstadion. Heidenheim defeated 3-0 at home by Mönchengladbach. So Jamie absolutely buzzing with that one.
yeah, Gladbach, they're slowly going back up again.
And then Wolfsburg 1, Bayer Leverkusen 3. So they've turned the corner, haven't they, since getting rid of Ten Hag. So let's start off with Bayern Munich. And do we think that they're going to run away with the Bundesliga title again this season?
Well,
Yes.
with that front line, if they couldn't, then companies should be sacked. Luis Diaz has been tremendous. Kane
Don't
has
remind
just
me.
been unreal. Um, I just want Kane to continue it because if he could do this at the World Cup, we're gonna love it. Um, but can I just point out though, Leipzig have been brilliant.
Yeah,
I know they're nowhere near, but since that opening day defeat to Bayern Munich, which was
they
I
were
never
awful.
seen. Oh, they were terrible. And you think, Jesus, is this the season coming up? And then they've won every game pretty much nearly. Lost one and only drawn one since that. And they're only six. Okay, they're 6 points behind still, but good work from Leipzig. I keep checking them to just see if they're gonna give it a go. They're clearly trying to stay as close as they can. But yeah, I think Munich are they get well. Everyone thinks they could win the Champions League. I'm not sure.
Nah.
I'm not sure. Um, as much as I hate to say it, I think Arsenal might. They can't get anything wrong right now.
You touched on Leipzig then. They were 2-0 winners against Werder Bremen today, and Union Berlin 1-0 winners against St. Pauli. I did forget to do the Sunday results.
Who
But
cares? What Germany takes a day off on a Sunday normally.
if you think about it, this time last year we were in Germany. We watched
Mm,
Leverkusen on the Saturday, didn't we? Against
Yeah,
Heidenheim, and then
I loved that. I
on the
loved that
Sunday.
stadium. I did. I don't know about you, lot. I loved the Bay
Oh,
Arena. It was great.
it's good.
it was great
Very good.
Yeah.
architecture and a great fan experience as well. I think the fans were quite good, uh, and the service inside the ground was good as well. I don't know about you guys.
Well, I don't know about you, lot. I don't want to sound cheesy, but what I loved about going to Bay Arena and what I love about going to most Germany stadiums, it does feel like you're joining a community for a couple of hours.
Mm,
If that makes sense, as in everyone's probably local, everyone's
yeah,
proper supporters of their local teams.
Yeah,
Even the clubs themselves have their local sponsors all over the stadium, because they get that support and the fans have big say on the clubs and all that. And when we went to that little pub before we went to the Bay Arena, I don't know. I just really enjoyed the experience. It's just hard to say, but it was just a great day out. We saw Patrick Schick prove Seb True wrong, which was great. In case anyone's wondering what I'm talking about, Seb True said to us on the train towards Leverkusen that Patrick Schick is shit, and I was like, no, he's not. He's always scored when it mattered, and then he scores a hat trick. We were sitting in different seats. I was trying to call Seb when he scored that hat trick. I went, "What were you?" Wait, he didn't answer it, the bastard. And he went, "Oh, what I was going to say to him. What did you say about Patrick Schick?"
it was that evening as well when you got your revenge on him being asleep in the Airbnb.
Oh, what did I do again?
Because
I can't
he
remember.
drowned his sorrows, didn't he? And he just fell asleep at the dining
Oh
room
yeah,
table,
he just fell asleep like that, kind of. Oh,
dreaming of Patrick Schick.
oh yeah, absolutely. That
aren't we
was
all?
aren't we all? We're all in Patrick Schick's world.
Well, the Sunday as well, we with Mönchengladbach and St. Pauli. What an experience that was as well. I think the fan park at Borussia Park was absolutely
Mm.
sensational. And that burger, Jamie, I thought you were exaggerating. That burger was
Oh,
tasty.
it's tremendous. Yeah, I must admit the game wasn't amazing, but
No.
I do love Borussia Park. That's twice I've been there, and it's yeah they know how to do a match day experience. That's for sure.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Looking at other games, Dortmund and Stuttgart with the 3-3 draw there, Jamie and Joe. And it's been a bit of a mixed bag of seasons recently for Borussia Dortmund
What are you gonna say,
as
Borussia
well.
Mönchengladbach
And
then?
nearly had a slip up. What do you think's gone wrong for Borussia in recent years, Joe?
God, it's difficult to say, really. I do think this game sums them up so well. You take the lead in the 89th minute, concede in the 91st minute. It's such a soft underbelly that they seem to have had for a long time now. I mean, some of it is just Bayern Munich's dominance. They finish second a lot to Bayern Munich, and it's almost like there's not a lot you can do about that. But also, they haven't been able to replace players they've lost, I don't think,
Yeah.
over the years. They haven't maybe quite had as many sort of good young players coming through as they did in the past. It's just a cycle, I think. I'm sure they'll be back. They're such a big club. Eventually, it will happen, but yeah, it does feel like they're just a bit soft sometimes, I think. And yesterday was another example of that for me.
Yeah, I mean, it says it all when Emre Can is your main centre off. I mean, I know he scored from the penalty spot, but who can't score from the penalty spot? All right, David Beckham, but apart from that, but I don't know. It's mad, isn't it? Because I keep forgetting that Guirassi's still at Dortmund, and he's my favourite at that club. But even he didn't score yesterday.
I think
But
he's struggled a little bit this season, hasn't he?
yeah, he's got
Yeah.
Quite
is it
replicated what he did last season.
Yeah, he's got 5 goals, I think, this season. There's rumours that English clubs are interested in him for January, including Man United, apparently, when I was reading it yesterday. But it just seems as though I agree with Crosland. It's like a mentality though at Dortmund as well. Like I remember watching the Club World Cup, and I know Club World Cup was hit or miss really, but I remember watching them and I just didn't rate them at all, to be honest with you. Joe Bellingham scored on his debut or in his second game for them, and obviously the hype was there, like, oh look, it's the next Jude Bellingham, here we go. And I was just thinking he wasn't that great. He
No.
wasn't great in that game. I do wonder if they've actually bought him because of the name. And Julian Brandt as well. I know if Seb's watching, I know he likes him, but I don't rate him. He's the most overrated German midfielder I've ever seen. And there's just certain players there that are still there and they're still causing problems. I could talk about it all day, but the one player, I mean, the two players, they never start. Nikola Kovac, this is a guy who lost to Mexico as Croatian manager 3-1 in 2014. He is not great. He is not a great coach. I've said it before and I'll say it again. He is rubbish. When you do not start Pascal Gross and Marcel Sabitzer, you don't know football, mate. I'm being a bit biased. I love Gross and Sabitzer, but come on, Sabitzer's awesome.
Yeah, you
Very
loved him
good
on that
players.
loan spell, didn't you?
Oh, I thought he was tremendous. When United didn't sign, I was like, oh, come on. It can't be any worse than fucking Lingard.
Jesse Lingard, who's still playing in Korea, I think.
Good, stay there.
But if we have a quick look at the Bundesliga table, Heidenheim and Mainz are in the bottom two, with St. Pauli currently 16th, so they're in that playoff spot. Um, Looking at the other end of the table, you got Frankfurt in sixth, Stuttgart in fifth, Dortmund fourth, Leverkusen in third. So they have really turned it around in recent weeks. Like you said, Leipzig second. I've been impressed with how they've come along in recent years. And Bayern Munich first. If we're looking on at Serie A, uh, and we've talked about Irish people before, won't we? Ferguson has scored his first goal in over a year, and his first goal for Roma away to Jamie Vardy's Cremonense, lads.
Oh,
Wow.
good for him.
Yeah.
Finally getting paid to score.
Yeah, he looked a really good player when he broke through, but it's
Yeah,
it's all
what
got
happened there?
all gone a bit wrong for him. I think he's been injured for a bit, hasn't he? But yeah, even before that, I think he fell down the pecking order. So
Yeah.
hopefully he can rebuild at Roma.
I was going to say, like, was it the Milan derby's on as we speak?
Yeah.
And
Yes, AC are winning, aren't they?
Pulisic again. He's having a great season, isn't he?
What a baller.
You know what? Good for him because he had so much hype when he was at Dortmund. Then Chelsea got him. Didn't quite work out for him at Chelsea, but it does feel like AC Milan. He's finally found a club where he is number one. You know, he is the poster boy at AC Milan.
Yeah.
And you know, it's good for the US ahead of their own World Cup. So I'm loving it. You know, good on Pulisic, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Inter Milan, they're having a good season, but they just seem to have bad games as well. It's a really weird season under Christian Kivu. Kivu's doing a good job. But Cal Hanaglu is their top scorer. That says it all to me. And he's also the league top scorer. So I don't know what's going on. It's been such a weird Serie A campaign so far. And even after all this, AS Roma are top. No one expected this. Loving it. It's a great league. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, very competitive.
Very competitive. Talking about other games, Fiorentina 1-1 against Juventus, and Napoli 3-1 winners against Atalanta. When they've been a bit hit and miss, haven't they, recently?
Who, Napoli?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No,
I was just thinking with Antonio Conte being under pressure, then sitting third in
Why?
the table. So
Why? They're 2 points off the top.
Yeah,
it's a,
seems odd.
I don't understand why. I mean, they've got Scott McTominay. They're going to win everything. So
I think Como are doing well as well on under Cesc Fabregas again. They're seventh,
yeah.
just 2 points behind Juventus, but they've got a game in hand on the Turin club as well, so they could end up jumping above them into sixth place and a potential Europa League spot. What a fairy tale that'll be if Fabregas can pull that off this season.
And then he just
Remarkable.
joined. Then he'll join a big club.
Yeah.
He's waiting for the big contract, isn't he? I reckon.
Yeah.
Feels like that, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, they all do it.
Oh, no,
don't
of
they?
course not. Of course not.
Yeah, he'll do a Rob Edwards.
But he's
Yeah,
in a big club.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, good point.
So yeah, as you said at the moment, Roma top of the league, just ahead of Milan. As things stand, it looks like Milan will be going 2 points behind Roma. Gasparini's really is putting his name out there, isn't he, for potential jobs around Europe. He's done a good job at Atalanta, run them the Europa League, and then if he can secure Roma the league title this season, I know there's a long way to go. I think he'll really set himself in good stead for maybe a job maybe in La Liga or the Premier League. What do you reckon?
Well, I think the last Roma manager to win the Serie A was Fabio Capello in, I think it was 2001. I think that was the last time they did it, and that was when Totti was quite young at that point. And Luca Toni, from what I can remember. But I must admit, I went to the Everton Roma friendly at the start of the season when they opened the new stadium, and I didn't rate Roma at all, to be honest with you. But again, Gasparini's early days in the job, and it still kind of is early days, I guess, if he only joined in the summer. But no, fair play to him. The one player I really rated at Roma that day in that friendly was Angelino, who's the wing back that used to play for City and Leipzig, who I absolutely tremendous to watch. Runs back and forth, great long direct diagonal balls as well. Absolute old fashioned wing back. Absolutely loved watching him. So I'm quite glad. I'm open. I've not watched much of Roma this season, but I'd like to think he's been a big part of it.
Yeah.
Part in,
And
yeah.
my
Go
fear
on, Joe.
for
Sorry.
my only thing about Gasparini is if he does move to I don't want to say big club because Roma are a big club, but an elite sort of level club, is whether he'd be able to deal with the sort of players there. I think my understanding is that he can be quite a taskmaster, and it's his way or the highway. So that might rub some people up the wrong way in some of these clubs.
I think people need to remember as well, though, like Italian football managers don't leave Italy. So
Yeah,
I do think a lot of people just assume these Italian managers that start to do well will go elsewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if Gasparini's happy where he is. You see a lot of managers that have left Italy and come straight back. Conte is a good example. Um, Italians love Italy, simple as that. And I think players are the same, and the managers are the same.
He is in his late 60s as well. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I don't think he's fussed about a big move to Spain or England. I don't think he'd suit England, to be honest.
yeah.
Uh, Moving on to La Liga, Barcelona played the first game in the rebuilt new camp at the weekend. Only a reduced capacity though of was it 45,000 or something along those
Oh
lines?
no, how are they going to pay the debts off?
45,157 in attendance at Spotify new camp as Robert Lewandowski, Ferran Torres got a brace, and Fermin Lopez scored. As Oyhan Sanchez was sent off for Athletic Club Bilbao there. So yeah, Barcelona. Let's have a look at the La Liga table. Are ahead of Real Madrid on goal difference currently, and Real Madrid, as we speak, are a goal behind in their game tonight against
Right.
Elche, I think it was that they're
Yeah.
playing. So,
Yeah.
so fascinating. Yeah, Elche. So yeah, fascinating at how tight the title race in La Liga is this year, lads.
Yeah, very much so. And good to see Villarreal right up there as well.
I know, yeah. That's
Yeah.
that especially them ahead of Atletico Madrid. They're tremendous. But I feel like it's going to be another tight one this season. I don't know about you lot though, lads. Real Madrid, I think Alonso's doing well in his first season
Yeah,
because he's got a lot to. I think
Yeah,
he's got a lot of egos to deal with there. I don't think that's an easy job for him to jump into.
not at all. Not at all.
No, no. But Mbappe's had a good season so far. Jude Bellingham, something about him in there. There's a lot going on with him at the moment, and I just fear that that's just the media talking and not, and it's just a distraction for Jude Bellingham. But I think even Ian Wright started to, say stuff about because of his colour last week, and I was just thinking, oh my God, I don't think Jude wants any of this. Just let him play football for God's sake.
yeah,
So I hope that doesn't affect him for this season because he's been tremendous since he joined Real Madrid. He's been one of the star boys for that club, and it's a good team to watch as well. But for Barcelona, does anyone really want to see Barcelona win the league? I don't, but that's just my opinion.
the fascinating thing you talked about Real Madrid.
I don't really mind either way, to be honest.
Oh, it has to be one of them, didn't he?
The fascinating thing about Real Madrid talked about Xabi Alonso dealing with egos was there was talk the other week in the Spanish press about how I think it's Vinicius Junior was one of the players that is unhappy with him this season, and a number of the big names at Real Madrid aren't happy because apparently under Carlo Ancelotti, he would allow them to after the games, have a holiday, sometimes maybe even miss training if they perform well enough. And Xabi Alonso's put in more strict rules where he's like, no, you're not going on holiday after the game. I expect you back in at a certain point. I'm not Carlo,
Yeah.
and then he's set more new discipline and ground rules, and certain individuals are not liking that and have complained to the club hierarchy. So I
Like,
still think
but
I think he'll stay on. I think he'll stay on long term because he's doing well. But it'd be interesting to see how he faces it in 18 months. And I think
um,
if he did end up getting, because we've seen it before, Real Madrid with the players, complaining off that the manager gets kicked out, I think he would have no trouble getting another job if he easily.
well, I actually would reverse this and say Vinicius Junior leaving the club wouldn't be the worst thing for Real Madrid.
No.
Yeah,
He's a ball of problems. He's one of those kind of players that don't get me wrong, he's a tremendous footballer, but I don't mean to sound I don't know how to say it, but like South American footballers are characters. They are,
Yeah,
yeah, and Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea, bloody hell, he's a fighter. Casemiro, look at him. They all have their own interests, and I think Vinicius Junior, sadly, I mean, look what happened with the Ballon d'Or last season. Him and the whole team just didn't turn up because they knew who was going to win it, and it wasn't going to be Vinicius Junior. And it's like, talk about respecting the other winner, though. At least just turn up and just be there, etc. So that guy's got a lot of attitude problems, and he's a great footballer, but I don't think Real Madrid should heavily rely on him for the future. If they have to let him go, then let him go. I'd rather keep Alonso than Vinicius Junior, to be honest with you. But also, Carlo Ancelotti is an old-fashioned football manager. You know, if Carlo Ancelotti was in the era of Xavi Alonso and has just retired from football and has been a manager in Germany already and stuff, he's not. The rules are going to be so much more different because it really is strict now. It really is like they're checking what they're doing in between matches, what they're eating, what they're training. It's like what you're doing at a bar tonight. No, get back home.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's so strict, and Ancelotti is a great manager, so you can't criticize his methods. But that's just what Alonso is. Alonso was brought up in a different era of football, and the guy still looks like he could play football. Alonso hasn't aged a bit. He looks himself. He clearly looks after himself very well, and I think he's doing a very good job at Real Madrid. Plus, him
Yeah.
against Hansi Flick is not going to be easy. Hansi Flick is, he's a multiple winner, uh,
yeah.
international and club level. So it's not going to be easy. So I think we've got a hell of a title race ahead of us. But fair play to Lewandowski as well. He's had a bit of a slow season so far, but yesterday I think for Barcelona there's a massive advantage all of a sudden to return back to their main stadium where it'll feel like a proper home game again. Once they get used to being there again, I think that's going to give them such a huge boost.
Yeah, agreed.
With Hansi Flick as well, there's rumours about him potentially being his contract's up in the summer, if I remember rightly, and with talk of Barcelona not having the finances to keep him on. So if he did leave the new camp, I think there's a host of clubs that would be interested, and I would most certainly love to see him in the Anfield dugout should Arne Slot get his P45.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm
I think
Slot
he's a
out.
winner. Yeah.
I'm just saying. I think his style of play is fantastic, and he's a serial winner, as Joe just mentioned.
Mm.
Not Glasner or
I think
Areola.
I think
I'd take them
Glasner's
over Flick.
I
Uh,
think Glasner's football suits a certain style of team. I think how to put it, I think he's a good manager in his own right, but it'd be interesting to see how it would transfer to a big club, if that makes
mm.
sense. And the same with Areola at the moment. He has the one game plan at Bournemouth. I like him. I'm a big fan. It'd be interesting to see how, a bit like Thomas Frank, how he manages the big personalities at another club.
Eric Ten Hag's available.
Strong pass.
One Dutch baldy to another. Oh. Oh crap! No! Don't call emergency services.
Oh, Jamie.
Oh God! My watch nearly called emergency services. I've never had that happen before.
Highlight of the stream. I think that's a good place to end it. Jamie calling the emergency services because he just can't deal with the quality of football this season.
It's a mere mention of Eric Ten Hag.
Yeah.
Your watch knows something.
Yeah. Brilliant.
But anyway, thank you for Jamie and Joe for joining us this week for another edition of.
Oh no! Final one.
Oh, go on.
Eredivisie.
Oh, go on then. I was just
Fe-
thinking of the
Feyenoord
timer, but
lost.
go on.
No,
Go on.
yeah, sorry, I did tell you about the timer. No, Feyenoord lost. And PSV won yesterday thanks to Till scoring the only goal. So PSV have got a bit of a gap going on at the top of the Dutch league now. But yeah, Robert van Persie not having a good time at the moment. That's it.
The Flying Dutchman, it's not going well.
And Ajax lost again.
No, that's a surprise.
Brilliant.
Yeah, they still can't find a coach.
That's they're still not pointed anyway.
Why they haven't got Hunter Lauren? Just why not?
He was a player.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we'll leave it there for this week's episode of Let's Talk Football. Thanks for Joe and Jamie for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to Let's Talk Sport for more footballing content. Stay tuned for future editions of the podcast, and we'll see you all on Let's Talk Sport very soon.